Good afternoon, good-looking people, and you're good-looking because you're always looking, and of course, you are finding the good in everything and in everybody. Hope you're well. It's Erev Shabbos, it's Erev Rosh Hashanah, and I wanted to get out the Hayom Yom for the second day of Rosh Hashanah. In particular, in this Hayom Yom, it's very complex. We're talking about a specific paragraph that we read on Shabbos. We have it in Krishma Alamita, which is the prayer we say before bedtime. And also, it's something we read right before blowing of the shofar. It's called Anabach. Anabach is a very mystical prayer. And ideally, if you look at it, and I'll provide a picture of it as well, that we don't necessarily read all the acronyms. You'll see how the letters are split up. And really in this paragraph is God's information and God's name. There are 42 letters. There's 42 words in Anabach. The first letter of all those 42 words is one of God's names. It's known as the 42 letter God of God's name, the name of God with 42 letters. Also, when you look at the layout of Anabach, it's done in sentences down. And if you actually look at the second sentence, which is Kabel Rinas Amcha Sagvenu Tarenu Nora, the first letter of those 6 words is Kra Satan, which means to tear down the Satan. And as we actually read Anabach before blowing the shofar, there's another 6 verses that we will say as well. Those 6 verses, if you look at the first letter of those 6 verses, you will see it's also the acronym and spells out Kara Satan, which means to tear down the Satan. Essentially, what's being talked about today is that we have all these different intentions in mind as we look at this. We don't necessarily read the acronyms, but we're supposed to have different things in mind. But what I wanted to just share is kind of what it's talking about today, is that different things that we do initiate different responses from above and down and down and above. And the idea is when we learn Torah, this draws down the infinite from God to below. And when we daven, this is us initiating that connection from down to above, from here to spiritual, up. And the difference between the month of Nisan and the month of Tishrei, which are also both different times of the year known as the first months of the year. Nisan talks about the exodus from Egypt. This is referring to God initiated this exodus. It's from above to below. And then for Tishrei, being it's the month of Teshuvah, this refers to our initiation, which is from below upward. I know there's a lot in it, but I wanted to just share it. Let's read the Hayom Yom inside, and we'll go from there. So for the Hayom Yom of Beis Tishrei, the extra 3 Tehillim are Tzadik Aleph, Tzadik Beis, and Tzadik Gimel, 91, 92, and 93. Also, when by Mincha, there's a instruction here that before the Mincha service, we do not recite the psalm beginning with Hodu, but we do recite the passage beginning Pasach Eliyahu. And also during the Musaf service, we say La'el Orach Din. Okay, for the Hayom Yom, it is stated in the Siddur under the heading of Shar HaKriyas Shema, in the mimer entitled Lahavin HaHefresh, that before sounding the shofar, we recite the passage beginning with Anabach. Generally speaking, the intent of this instruction is that one should have in mind the mystical significance of the verses recited before sounding of the shofar, whose acronyms for the second component are the 42 letters of God's name. Some individuals, however, picture the words of Anabach in their minds without articulating the letters of the words. So this is what we're talking about. Some people will read it, some people will only picture it. Whoever engages in the mystical intentions must study the concepts clearly from the writings of the Arizal. Only then will his intention be acceptable. Message of the day is really that this is Tishrei. This is our opportunity of repentance that we are initiating from here to God through Teshuvah and through our davening and through everything else in this month. Have a great Yontif. I know there's a lot here. I hope I did it at least so you can understand it, and I will send a picture as well of Anabach so you can see the different references of the letters and the words, and have that as you listen to this video. All the best, good Shabbos, and good Yontif.